The laboratory hummed with quiet tension. Dr. James Walker moved from one computer screen to another, checking readings that no human had ever seen before. His eyes were red from lack of sleep, but they shone with excitement. "Anna, look at this," he called to his lead engineer. Anna Reed pushed away from her workstation and joined him. Her dark hair was tied back in a simple ponytail, and her lab coat had coffee stains from 3 days ago. She squinted at the screen. "The dark matter is containing itself," she asked, not quite believing what she was seeing. "Not just containing itself, it's creating a stable field that we can control." James pointed to a series of numbers that kept changing. "We've done it, Anna. After 5 years, we've finally done it." The small underground lab in Colorado had been their home for those 5 years. Only 12 people in the world knew about their work. Dark matter, the mysterious substance that made up most of the universe but couldn't be seen or detected easily, was finally being harnessed. Tom Davis, their physicist, walked in carrying 3 cups of coffee. His round glasses slipped down his nose as he set the cups down. "Did I miss something?" he asked, noticing their excitement. "Only the biggest breakthrough in human history," Anna said, taking a coffee. "James did it. He created a stable dark matter containment field." Tom's eyes widened. "That's impossible." He rushed to the screen, spilling his coffee. That's going to change everything," James finished for him. None of them knew just how true those words would be. 3 days later, everything did change, but not because of their discovery. The message came to every screen on Earth at the same time. In every language, the same face appeared. Humanoid, but clearly not human. Its skin was pale blue, with no hair, and eyes too large for its head. "People of Earth," it said in a calm, almost musical voice, "I am Ambassador Gray of the Galactic Council. We have watched your development for some time, and we are pleased to inform you that you have been deemed worthy of membership in our community of advanced species." The world erupted in chaos and celebration. First contact. Proof that humans were not alone. But in the Pentagon, in a secure room deep underground, Admiral Mark Stone watched the message with narrowed eyes. "They look down on us," he said to the President and Joint Chiefs seated around him. "Listen to how they speak. Deemed worthy, like they're doing us a favor." The President, a former diplomat, shook her head. "We should be careful not to project our own attitudes onto them, Admiral. This is a historic moment, and one we should approach with caution," Stone insisted. "Madam President, I suggest we continue all defense research programs until we know more about this council." "Including Walker's dark matter project?" the President asked. Stone nodded firmly. "Especially that one." 2 weeks later, Ambassador Gray arrived on Earth in a ship that seemed to be made of light itself. The world watched as he met with world leaders, smiling his strange smile that never reached his large eyes. Dr. James Walker watched the news from his new lab, now hidden beneath the surface of the moon. His team had been moved there on Admiral Stone's orders, their work classified beyond top secret. "Look at the way they avoid the technical questions," Tom said, pointing at the screen where Gray was giving a press conference. "Every time someone asks about their technology, he changes the subject. He's hiding something." Anna agreed. "But what?" James turned away from the screen. "It doesn't matter. We have our orders. Double the work speed, no breaks until we achieve full containment." They worked day and night. While Earth celebrated its new place in the galactic community, the small team on the moon made breakthrough after breakthrough. Dark matter, they discovered, could be used not just for energy, but for propulsion and even weapons beyond anything humans had created before. But 6 months into their work, they hit a problem. "They're watching us," Admiral Stone told James during his monthly visit to the moon base. "This council has sensors all over our system. They're asking questions about energy spikes coming from the moon." "We're shielded," James protested. "There's no way they could detect what we're doing." Unless they already know about dark matter technology, Stone said grimly. Unless they're making sure no one else gets it. The truth came 3 days later. Ambassador Gray stood before the United Nations, his blue skin glowing under the lights. His voice was still musical, still calm, but now there was a new tone in it. Firmness. Authority. As new members of the Galactic Council, he said, you must understand that certain technologies are restricted. For the safety of all species, of course. He showed a list on the large screen behind him. Advanced AI, faster than light travel, certain types of genetic modification, and dark matter manipulation. These technologies can only be developed after centuries of cultural maturity, Gray explained. Earth will be eligible to apply for development rights in approximately 300 years. In the moon base, watching the broadcast, James turned to Stone. They're keeping us down, he said quietly. They don't want competition. Stone's face was hard as stone. Then they shouldn't have shown their hand so early. Keep working, Doctor. But from now on, we're in a race. The breakthrough came a year later. James stood in a circular room, looking at what appeared to be a small black sphere floating in the center. It gave off no light, no radiation their instruments could detect. It simply existed, hovering there, a perfect captive piece of dark matter. It's beautiful, Anna whispered beside him. It's more than beautiful, James replied. It's powerful enough to run a city for a century, or power something else, came Admiral Stone's voice from behind them. He entered the room with 2 military engineers, something that will make sure Earth isn't at the mercy of this council. Tom joined them, carrying his tablet with the final calculations. We can build a ship around this technology, something that can travel faster than their ships, that can't be detected by their sensors. How soon? Stone asked. James looked at his team, then back at the floating sphere of darkness. With proper resources, 3 years. Stone nodded. You'll have everything you need. None of them noticed the small drone outside the base's viewport, watching with artificial eyes. In orbit above Earth, in the Council's embassy ship, Ambassador Gray received its transmission and frowned for the first time since arriving at this troublesome planet. The humans were clever. Too clever. And they were doing exactly what the Council had forbidden every emerging species from doing for the last 10,000 years. Gray sent a message back to the Council's homeworld. Earth might need special attention after all. But it was already too late. In the hidden lab beneath the lunar surface, humanity's first dark matter core pulsed with power. The race for the stars had begun, and Earth had no intention of staying in last place. 3 years passed in a blur of work, tests, and secrecy. Deep inside the asteroid belt, hidden from Council sensors, Earth's first dark matter warship took shape. Captain Lisa Hayes stood on the observation deck, looking at the finished ship. It hung in the great construction bay, a sleek black vessel that seemed to swallow light rather than reflect it. Only its faint blue engine glow hinted at the power within. The Nightshade, she said, tasting the name. She's beautiful. Admiral Stone stood beside her. Age had added more lines to his face, but his eyes remained sharp and determined. Beautiful and deadly, he said. The most advanced ship ever built by human hands. Lisa nodded. At 35, she was young for such a command, but she had been the top pilot in the secret space fleet for years. When Stone needed someone who could handle a ship unlike any other, her name was the first on his list. When do we leave? She asked. Tomorrow. Your crew is ready. Your mission is simple. Test the ship's capabilities beyond our solar system and return without being detected. Lisa turned to face him. And if we are detected? Stone's face hardened. Then we find out if our weapons work as well as our engines. The crew of the Nightshade gathered in the main briefing room. 20 men and women. The best Earth had to offer. Lisa looked at each face, memorizing them. There was Jack Wilson, her first officer, with his steady hands and steady nerves. Maria Diaz, the engineer who understood the dark matter core better than anyone except Dr. Walker himself. Robert Green, weapons officer, whose quiet voice hid a fierce loyalty to Earth. "You all know why we're here," Lisa began. "For 3 years, the Council has been watching Earth, limiting our technology, keeping us in a box. Tomorrow, we leave that box." She touched a control, and a hologram of the ship appeared in the center of the room. "The Nightshade can travel 10 times faster than any known Council ship. Our dark matter shielding makes us invisible to their sensors. Our weapons—" She paused, looking at Green. "Our main cannon can punch through any known shield," he said. "The dark matter torpedoes can disrupt the atomic structure of any material. In theory, anyway." "In theory," Lisa repeated. "Tomorrow, we see if theory becomes reality." She saw the mix of excitement and fear on their faces. This wasn't just a test flight. It was a declaration that humanity would not accept second place in the galaxy. The launch was silent. Perfect. The Nightshade slipped away from the hidden base, its dark surface blending with the blackness of space. No rockets, no flames, just the quiet hum of the dark matter core as it bent space around the ship. Lisa sat in the captain's chair, feeling the power beneath her. "Dark matter drive engaged," Maria reported from engineering. "Core is stable. We are running silent." "Take us out of the system," Lisa ordered. "Let's see what she can do." The stars blurred as the Nightshade accelerated. The solar system fell behind them. And then they were truly in deep space, going faster than any human had ever traveled. Jack checked his instruments. No sign of pursuit or detection. "We're ghosts, Captain." Lisa allowed herself a small smile. "Set course for the Epsilon system. That's 30 light years. Should take us about 3 days at this speed. The Council has outposts there," Robert warned from weapons. "Exactly," Lisa replied. "A perfect test of our stealth systems." The journey was smooth, the ship performing beyond expectations. The crew worked in shifts, monitoring the dark matter core, making small adjustments. On the 3rd day, they reached Epsilon. "Slow to observation speed," Lisa ordered. "Let's see what's out here." The main screen showed a beautiful system. 2 suns orbiting each other, 9 planets, countless moons. According to Council records shared with Earth, the 4th planet had been marked as a potential future colony world. "I'm picking up unusual readings from the 4th planet," Jack reported, frowning at his screen. "There seems to be mining activity." Lisa leaned forward. "Show me." The screen zoomed in. The planet's surface was being stripped, great machines digging into the Earth, and working those machines. "Those are humans," Robert said in shock. "Earth humans." Lisa stared at the screen. It couldn't be possible. No human colony ship had ever gone this far. "Unless. The Council told us they've been watching Earth for decades," she said slowly. "What if they've been doing more than watching? What if they've been taking people?" The bridge fell silent as the implications sank in. "Captain," Maria said finally, "there's another ship in orbit around the planet. Council design. It's a Varn vessel." The Varn, one of the junior Council races, reptilian and known for their mining operations, now apparently using human slave labor on a world they claimed was uninhabited. "We should report back to Admiral Stone," Jack suggested. Lisa watched the screen, saw a human worker collapse only to be struck by a Varn overseer. Her hands tightened on the arms of her chair. "No," she said, "we can't leave them. Not now that we've seen this." "Captain, our orders." "Our orders were to test this ship's capabilities." Lisa cut him off. "I intend to do exactly that." She turned to Robert. "Prepare weapons. We're going to free those people." The Nightshade appeared above the mining colony like a piece of night sky come to life. The Varn ship in orbit had no warning, no time to raise shields or fire weapons. One shot from the dark matter cannon, and it split in 2, its reactor going dark. On the surface, the Varn overseers looked up in confusion as their communications died. Then the black ship descended, hovering over the main compound. Lisa's voice boomed from the Nightshade's external speakers. "This is Captain Hayes of Earth. You are holding humans against their will. Release them immediately, or we will free them by force. The Varn commander, a tall reptilian with yellow scales, stepped out of the main building. He looked up at the ship with disbelief. Earth has no vessels this far from their system, he hissed into his communicator. The Council forbids it. We no longer recognize the Council's right to forbid anything, Lisa replied. You have 1 minute to release your prisoners. The Varn's response was to order his guards to aim weapons at the human workers. It was the last order he would ever give. The Nightshade's precision beams struck, vaporizing the Varn weapons and cutting a perfect circle around the human workers, separating them from their captors. Before the Varn could regroup, Lisa had landed the ship and sent her security team to escort the prisoners aboard. There were 200 of them, thin and scared from years of labor. They stared at their rescuers in disbelief. You're from Earth? One old man asked, his voice cracking. Real Earth. We are, Lisa assured him. And we're taking you home. As the Nightshade rose from the planet, the Varn mining facility behind it erupted in flames, a message that could not be ignored. Word spread through the galaxy faster than the Nightshade could fly. A mysterious black ship that appeared and disappeared like a shadow. A destroyed Varn mining operation. Freed human slaves telling stories of their rescue. In the Council's Great Hall, Ambassador Gray faced angry questions from his superiors. You assured us they were contained, the Council Elder said, its many eyes blinking in displeasure. You said their technology was primitive. They concealed their true progress. Gray replied, his musical voice now strained. The humans are resourceful. They are dangerous, the Elder corrected. They have dark matter technology, which we have kept from all emerging races for millennia. And now they know about our harvesting operations. Gray bowed his head. What are your orders? Prepare the fleet, the Elder said. Earth must be taught the price of defiance. But even as the Council plotted, the Nightshade was racing home, carrying its freed prisoners and the truth about the Galactic Council that had pretended to welcome humanity with open arms. The Grand Council chamber was built to impress. Its ceiling soared hundreds of feet above the floor, made entirely of a crystal that changed colors with the mood of the debate. Today, it burned angry red. This is outrageous, shouted the Varn representative, his scales standing on end with fury. Humans attacked our mining operation without provocation. 500 representatives from across the galaxy sat in rising circles around the central speaking platform. At the highest level sat the 7 elder species, the founding members of the Council who held true power. Below them were the mid-tier races, granted some privileges. At the bottom level sat the newest members, including Earth's empty chair. Ambassador Gray stood alone on the speaking platform, his blue skin pale under the harsh red light. The humans deny any knowledge of this attack, he said, his musical voice strained. They claim no ship left their system. They lie, hissed the Varn. 200 of our workers have vanished. Our supply ship was destroyed by a vessel using dark matter weapons. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Dark matter weapons. The forbidden technology. The Chief Elder, a massive being whose true form was hidden beneath flowing silver robes, raised a hand for silence. This is a grave matter. The Elder's voice boomed, translated simultaneously into all galactic languages. If humans have indeed developed dark matter technology and left their system, they have violated the 2 most sacred laws of membership. The penalty for such violations is clear, said another Elder, this one a spindly creature with 6 arms. Containment and regression. Their civilization must be reset. More murmurs, some of agreement, some of concern. Reset meant orbital bombardment, the destruction of all technology, the reduction of a species to primitive survival. In the shadows of a maintenance tunnel that ran behind the chamber, Ben Miller pressed his body against the wall, listening through a hidden sensor. An intelligence officer from Earth's new space command, he had infiltrated the Council station 3 months ago, posing as a maintenance worker. His heart raced as he recorded the debate. This was worse than Admiral Stone had feared. The Council wasn't just restricting Earth's development. They were prepared to destroy human civilization if it advanced too quickly. Ben slipped away, moving through the maintenance tunnels toward the Council archives. If Earth was going to fight back, they needed information. They needed to know exactly what they were dealing with. Admiral Stone stood before the world's leaders in the United Nations emergency session. The chamber was silent as he finished presenting Captain Hayes' report and the images from Epsilon. "This is what the Galactic Council really is," he said, his voice hard. "Not a benevolent group of advanced species welcoming us to a peaceful galaxy. They are colonizers and enslavers who have been taking humans for decades, using them as labor on distant worlds." The Secretary General, a normally composed woman, looked shaken. "You have proof of this. 200 living witnesses now in our protection," Stone replied. "And this." He pressed a button, and a new image appeared on the giant screen behind him. A massive spacecraft, unlike anything humanity had built, emerging from a hidden base beneath the Pacific Ocean. "Council spies on Earth," Stone explained. "They've been here for at least 50 years, monitoring us, occasionally taking people for their colonies. Their ship was preparing to leave after we destroyed their mining operation." "Was?" the Chinese representative asked. Stone allowed himself a small, grim smile. "We used our prototype weapons to disable it. We now have Council prisoners and their technology for study." The chamber erupted in voices, some frightened, some angry, all demanding to know what this meant for Earth. Stone raised his hands for quiet. "There's more. Officer Miller has sent information from the Council's central station. They're planning to reset our civilization, orbital bombardment to destroy our technology and infrastructure." This time, the silence was absolute, heavy with fear. "But we're not defenseless," Stone continued. "For 3 years, we've been building in secret. Captain Hayes' mission was just the beginning." He pressed another button. The screen showed 5 black ships, each similar to the Nightshade but larger, more menacing. Our dark matter fleet. 5 warships, each capable of taking on multiple Council vessels, each able to appear anywhere in Council space without detection. "You built these without authorization?" the Russian president asked, his voice a mix of anger and admiration. "I built them to protect Earth," Stone replied simply. "And now we need them." Ben Miller moved through the central archive, his stolen access card opening doors that no human was meant to pass through. The Council's history was stored here, records going back thousands of years. He found what he was looking for in a secure terminal, files marked Species Management Protocols. His hands flew over the alien keyboard, copying data to his hidden device. What he found made his blood run cold. The Council wasn't just restricting Earth. It had been doing the same to dozens of species across the galaxy for millennia. Any race that showed too much promise, developed too quickly, was either restricted like Earth or reset if they resisted. And behind it all were the elder species, the first 5 spacefaring races who had formed the Council not for peace, but to ensure their eternal dominance. "I thought I might find you here," came a soft voice behind him. Ben spun around, hand reaching for his hidden weapon. A small alien stood in the doorway, not one of the blue-skinned species like Ambassador Gray, but a greenish creature with large, intelligent eyes. "I'm not here to stop you," the alien said, raising its 4-fingered hands. "I'm Nyx from Proxima Centauri. We were restricted 300 years ago." Ben kept his hand on his weapon. "What do you want?" "The same thing you do. The truth to be known." Nyx moved to the terminal. "You should also see these files, the harvest records. Your people aren't the only ones being taken for labor." Together, they downloaded more evidence of the Council's true nature. In the Council chamber, the debate had turned to action. The Chief Elder had just called for a vote on the Earth solution when the chamber's giant doors slid open. Admiral Stone walked in, flanked by Captain Hayes and Dr. Walker. Behind them floated a small black sphere, a dark matter core. Gasps and shouts filled the room. Security forces moved forward, weapons raised. "Hold your fire," Stone called out, his voice carrying through the chamber. "Unless you want this dark matter core to destabilize and take this entire station with it." The security forces froze. The chief elder rose from its seat. "How dare you enter this chamber, human? You have no authority here." Stone smiled coldly. "I have the authority of 5 dark matter warships currently surrounding this station, each capable of reducing it to atoms. I suggest you listen to what we have to say." The crystal ceiling had shifted from red to a pulsing purple of confusion and fear. Stone stepped forward. "We know the truth about the Council. We know about the harvesting of our people. We know about your plans to reset Earth." He nodded to Hayes, who activated a projector. Around the chamber, images appeared. Humans working in mines, Council ships taking people from remote areas, the secret base under the Pacific. But most importantly, Stone continued, "We know that the Council was never about peace or progress. It was about control. The elder species ensuring they remained dominant while keeping everyone else down." Angry shouts came from the highest tier, but from the middle and lower tiers, a different reaction spread. Whispers, glances, the beginning of questions. A representative from a mid-tier species stood. "Is this true? Have we been deliberately held back as well?" The chief elder's voice boomed. "Do not listen to these primitives. They seek to destroy our order." But it was too late. Ben Miller had entered the chamber from a side door, together with Nix and several other representatives from restricted species. They carried data devices, projecting more evidence throughout the chamber. "The real purpose of the Council," Ben announced, "has been to prevent any species from challenging the elders. Not for safety, not for peace, but for power." The chamber erupted into chaos. Mid-tier species shouting at the elders, restricted species finding their voices for the first time. In the midst of it all, Admiral Stone stood firm, the dark matter core floating beside him, symbol of the technology that humans had developed despite every effort to hold them back. The Galactic Council was fracturing before his eyes, the careful hierarchy of thousands of years crumbling in a single day, and Earth was at the center of the storm. 1 month after the Council chamber confrontation, Earth had become the center of a galaxy-wide rebellion. Admiral Stone stood at the window of the newly built Space Command headquarters, looking down at the ships gathered in Earth orbit. There were vessels of all shapes and sizes, the angular crystal ships of the LUM, whose bodies were partly made of the same material as their vessels. The massive organic-looking craft of the Drell, a reptilian species whose technology merged with living tissue, and a dozen other designs from species who had all suffered under Council restrictions. "The Coalition fleet is almost ready, Admiral," said Captain Hayes, joining him at the window. Her uniform now bore the marks of her new rank, Fleet Commander. "How many ships?" Stone asked. 43 combat vessels, including our 5 dark matter warships. 17 support ships." Hayes handed him a tablet. "The Drell have adapted the dark matter core design to 3 of their vessels. The LUM are still working on it." Stone nodded. Dr. Walker had shared the dark matter technology with Earth's new allies, teaching them how to build and control the powerful cores. It was a gesture of trust that had cemented the Coalition and our targets. Hayes touched the tablet, bringing up a map of the galaxy. Red dots appeared across it. Military installations belonging to the elder species, research facilities, harvesting operations where they're using captive labor. Stone studied the map. "That's a lot of targets. A lot of people suffering while we talk," Hayes replied quietly. Stone knew she was right. The information Ben Miller had brought back revealed the horrifying scale of the Council's exploitation. Millions of beings from dozens of species working as slaves on worlds controlled by the elders. "Begin the operation," he ordered. "Let's show the elders what happens when the restricted species work together." 3 days later, the Coalition struck. Across the galaxy, Dark matter warships appeared without warning above Elder installations. The Nightshade, now commanded by Jack Wilson, led the attack on a massive mining complex in the Rigel system. All ships in position, Jack reported from the bridge. Below them, the mining complex spread across the moon's surface, worked by thousands of captive Drell. "Begin the attack," came Hayes' voice over the secure channel. "Remember, precision strikes only. We're here to free the workers, not destroy everything." The Nightshade fired, its dark matter weapons cutting through the complex's defenses like they weren't there. The other Coalition ships followed, their less advanced weapons still more than enough to overwhelm the surprise guards. Within an hour, the complex was under Coalition control. The freed Drell stumbled into the light, staring up at their rescuers with disbelief and hope. Similar scenes played out across the galaxy. The Council's military had never prepared for an enemy that could appear anywhere without warning. One by one, their secret facilities fell. In the Council's emergency bunker, deep beneath their central station, the Elder species gathered. Their usual robes and dignity were gone, replaced by fear. "This is impossible," said the Chief Elder, watching reports of yet another facility lost. "How are they coordinating these attacks? How are they moving so quickly?" Ambassador Gray stood before them, no longer the confident representative, but a messenger delivering bad news. "The humans have shared their dark matter technology with the other species. They're building more ships every day." "And the countermeasures?" demanded another Elder. Gray hesitated. "Our scientists are working on it, but dark matter technology is difficult. We've kept it restricted for so long that few of our own people understand it fully." The truth hung in the air, unspoken but clear. The Elders had suppressed dark matter research for so long that they had fallen behind. The technology they had feared in others' hands had become their downfall. "We still have one option," said the third Elder, its voice low and dangerous. "The core device." The chamber fell silent. The core device, the ultimate weapon, built millennia ago when the Elders first seized control. It had never been used, its power too terrible even for them. "That would affect innocent worlds as well," Gray protested. "There are no innocent worlds anymore," the Chief Elder replied coldly. "They have all chosen their side. Prepare the device." Captain Hayes led the most important mission herself. While the Coalition forces liberated slave worlds across the galaxy, she took the Nightshade to the Council's central archive with a special team. Ben Miller, Dr. Walker, and representatives from 3 Coalition species. "Security is heavier than expected," Ben reported as they approached in stealth mode. "They've doubled the guard since I was last here." "They know how valuable the information is," Hayes replied. "And we need that information more than ever." Their mission was clear: find the real core, the truth behind the Council's formation. Information that could unite the galaxy against the Elders once and for all. The Nightshade slipped past the outer defenses, its dark matter shielding making it invisible to the Council sensors. Hayes brought it alongside an emergency airlock. "Small team only," she ordered. "Ben, Dr. Walker, with me. The rest stay with the ship." The 3 humans moved through the station's corridors, avoiding patrols. Ben's knowledge of the layout proved invaluable as he led them through maintenance tunnels and restricted areas. "The secure archives should be through here," he whispered, approaching a massive door. Dr. Walker examined the lock. Advanced encryption. But he pulled out a small device of his own design. Every lock has a key. The door slid open, revealing a vast chamber. Not the electronic archives Ben had accessed before, but something far older. Physical records, artifacts, preserved in stasis fields. "The real history," Ben breathed. They moved quickly, scanning anything that looked important. Dr. Walker found it first. A glowing crystal cube containing what appeared to be the original Council charter. "This is it," he said, his eyes wide as he read the ancient text. The truth. The Council had not formed for peace, as all species were taught. It had formed after the first 5 spacefaring races discovered dark matter technology simultaneously. Rather than share this power, they had agreed to restrict all other developing species, keeping them technologically inferior while presenting themselves as benevolent guides. "We need to broadcast this," Hayes said, copying the data. "Everyone needs to see." Alarms blared suddenly. On her communicator, frantic messages from the Nightshade. "Captain, massive energy buildup detected. Council ships converging on our position." Hayes grabbed the crystal cube. "Move. Back to the ship now." They ran, dodging security forces now flooding the corridors. As they reached the Nightshade, Hayes looked back to see Ambassador Gray himself leading the pursuit, his face twisted with fury. The ship detached from the station, dark matter engines flaring as it accelerated away. On the bridge, reports came in from across coalition forces. "The Elders have activated something called the core device," reported the LUM representative, her crystalline face reflecting the emergency lights. "They're threatening to collapse stars across coalition space if Earth doesn't surrender its dark matter technology." Hayes looked at the crystal cube, now secured in the ship's scanner. "Broadcast this to every communication channel in the galaxy," she ordered. "Let everyone see what the Council really is." As the Nightshade raced back toward Earth, the truth spread across the stars. The Council's original sin, the lies told for thousands of years, the technology suppressed not for safety but for power. And in the darkness of deep space, an ancient weapon began to awaken, its dark matter heart pulsing with deadly purpose. Earth's war room was silent as Dr. Walker explained what they had discovered. Admiral Stone and leaders from a dozen coalition species listened intently, their faces grim. "The core device isn't just a weapon," Walker said, pointing to the holographic display. "It's the original dark matter reactor. The first one ever built, hidden at the Galactic Center." The display showed a massive structure, far larger than any ship or station. It floated in the emptiness near the supermassive black hole at the galaxy's heart, drawing power from the intense gravitational forces. "This is the real core," Walker continued. "The Elders built it together when they first discovered dark matter technology. Instead of using it to help all species advance, they weaponized it." The LUM representative, her crystal body reflecting the hologram's light, leaned forward. "How powerful is it?" "Powerful enough to collapse stars across the galaxy," Walker replied. "It creates a dark matter cascade that disrupts stellar fusion. They've already targeted 20 stars in coalition space." Admiral Stone studied the hologram. "Can it be destroyed?" "Not easily. It's protected by the largest defense fleet the Council has, plus automated weapons platforms. And if damaged incorrectly, it could trigger an uncontrolled cascade that would affect many more stars." Captain Hayes, who had just returned from the archive mission, stood up. "Then we need to neutralize it, not destroy it." All eyes turned to her. "We have the original dark matter equations now," she explained. "Dr. Walker and I have been studying them. We believe we can create a controlled dark matter cascade that would render the core device harmless." "A controlled cascade has never been attempted," Walker warned. "It would require perfect timing, and someone would need to reach the central chamber of the core device to implement it." Stone looked around the room at the coalition representatives. "This affects all our worlds. Are we in agreement?" One by one, they nodded. The Drell commander, his scaled skin dark with determination, spoke for all of them. "We fight together, or we die together." "Then let's plan our attack," Stone said. "We'll need every ship, every resource." As the meeting continued, Ben Miller stood quietly in the corner, watching. He had been the first to infiltrate the Council, the first to discover their true nature. Now he would be part of their downfall. He thought of his parents, who had disappeared when he was a child. The records he'd found in the Council archives confirmed what he had always suspected. They had been taken by Council harvesters, sent to work in mines on distant worlds. This fight was personal for him. For all of them. The Coalition fleet gathered at the edge of the Galactic core region, hidden behind a dense nebula. 100 ships, the largest free fleet the galaxy had seen in millennia. At its center were Earth's 5 dark matter warships, now joined by 7 more built by their allies. On the bridge of the Nightshade, Hayes reviewed the final plan with her officers. "The attack happens in 3 waves," she explained. "First, the Drell heavy ships hit their outer defenses. Then, our combined dark matter fleet punches through to the installation itself. Finally, the strike team enters the core device." The strike team consisted of Dr. Walker, who understood the dark matter technology better than anyone, Ben Miller, who had studied the Council's security systems, and Hayes herself, who would command the operation. Once inside, Walker added, "We'll have 30 minutes to reach the central chamber and implement the cascade program before the core device completes its firing sequence. If we fail," asked Maria from engineering. 20 inhabited worlds die," Hayes said simply. "We won't fail." The order came from Admiral Stone. "Begin the operation." The drill ships moved first, massive organic vessels that absorbed enemy fire while delivering devastating blows to the outer defense platforms. Council ships rushed to meet them, not realizing it was only the first wave. Then the dark matter fleet appeared, seemingly from nowhere, already past the outer defenses. Their weapons tore through the surprised Council vessels. On the Nightshade's bridge, Hayes watched the battle unfold. "Status: Path to the core device is opening," Jack reported. "Casualties are within acceptable limits." Hayes nodded. "Take us in. Maximum speed." The Nightshade accelerated toward the massive structure at the center of the battle. 2 other dark matter ships flanked it, drawing fire and providing cover. "Docking point identified," Jack called out. "It's heavily defended. All weapons, concentrated fire," Hayes ordered. The Nightshade's cannons blazed, clearing the way to a small maintenance airlock. As they approached, a Council battleship moved to intercept them. "They're going to ram us," Jack warned. "Hard to port," Hayes commanded. The Nightshade swerved, but the battleship adjusted its course. Then a coalition vessel slammed into the battleship, pushing it away. It was Ben's friend Nix, commanding a Proxima Centauri cruiser. "Path is clear," came Nix's voice over the comm. "Make it count." Hayes, Walker, and Ben suited up in the airlock. "We'll have communications until we reach the central chamber," Walker warned. "After that, the dark matter fields will block all signals." They launched themselves across the gap, magnetic boots locking onto the core device's hull. Ben worked quickly, bypassing the airlock security. "We're in," he reported. Inside, the ancient structure hummed with power. Dark matter energy flowed through conduits in the walls, pulsing like black blood. "This way," Ben said, consulting his scanner. "The central chamber is 2 levels down." They moved through dimly lit corridors, occasionally encountering Council security drones, which they dispatched quickly and quietly. "Energy levels are rising," Walker warned, checking his instruments. "The firing sequence is accelerating." "They know we're here," Hayes realized. "They're trying to complete the sequence before we can stop it." They reached a massive door blocking their path to the central chamber. Ben studied the lock. "This will take time," he said, pulling out his bypass tools. "Time we don't have," Walker replied, checking his readings again. 15 minutes until full activation. Ben worked frantically on the door while Hayes and Walker stood guard. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the structure. "We've been detected," Hayes said. "Be ready for." The sound of approaching security forces echoed down the corridor. Heavy footsteps, weapons charging. "Almost got it," Ben muttered. The first security drones rounded the corner, firing immediately. Hayes returned fire, forcing them back. "There's too many," she called. "Ben, hurry." "Got it," he shouted as the door slid open. "Go. I'll hold them off." Hayes hesitated. "That's not the plan." Ben smiled sadly. "Plans change, Captain." He pressed something into her hand. A small holographic projector. "I found this in the archives. It's a recording of my parents, before they were taken. After this is over, make sure someone finds their colony. Before she could respond, he pushed her and Walker through the door, then sealed it from his side. "Ben," Hayes shouted, but it was too late. Through the small window in the door, she watched as he turned to face the approaching forces, weapons ready. "We need to move," Walker said gently. "His sacrifice won't matter if we fail." They raced toward the central chamber, the heart of the core device. What they found there was breathtaking. A perfect sphere of contained dark matter, larger than any they had seen before, floating in a vast circular room. "The original dark matter core," Walker whispered in awe. "The power source for their entire civilization." Hayes shook off her grief for Ben. "Can you neutralize it?" Walker approached the control panel surrounding the sphere. "I think so. But I'll need to get closer to the core itself." As he worked, Hayes stood guard. Through the massive viewport, she could see the battle raging outside. Coalition ships fighting with desperate courage, buying them the time they needed. "Hurry," she urged. Almost. Walker's hands flew over the controls. "There. I've created a pathway for the Cascade program." He connected his device to the panel, then stepped back. "Now we wait. The Cascade will build slowly at first, then." A violent explosion rocked the chamber. Hayes was thrown against a wall, momentarily stunned. When her vision cleared, she saw Walker lying on the floor, blood seeping from a wound in his side. Ambassador Gray stood in a newly blasted doorway, holding an energy weapon. "Humans," he spat, his musical voice now harsh with hatred. "Always interfering. Always thinking you know better than those who have ruled for thousands of years." Hayes drew her weapon, but Gray fired again, knocking it from her hand. "The Cascade program is already running," she told him. "You can't stop it. I can still complete the firing sequence before your Cascade takes effect." Gray replied, moving to the control panel. "Your coalition worlds will die, and then we will rebuild our order." Hayes looked at Walker, who lay motionless but had opened his eyes. He gave her the slightest nod. "You never understood humans," Hayes said, drawing Gray's attention back to her. "We don't give up. We don't accept limits, and we certainly don't bow to tyrants like you." While she spoke, Walker had quietly reached for his device, pressing a final sequence. The dark matter sphere pulsed suddenly, changing from black to a deep purple. Gray spun around in alarm. "What have you done?" he cried. "Accelerated the Cascade," Walker gasped. "It's over." The sphere pulsed faster, waves of energy washing through the chamber. Gray screamed as the energy touched him, his body dissolving into particles. Hayes ran to Walker, helping him up. "We need to get out of here." "No time," he said weakly. "But it's okay. The Cascade isn't destroying the core. It's transforming it. The energy will spread through the galaxy, neutralizing the weapon without harming the stars." Through the viewport, Hayes watched in awe as waves of purple energy spread outward from the core device, washing over Council and Coalition ships alike without harming them. The dark matter sphere pulsed one final time, then stabilized, now a permanent purple glow. "It's beautiful," Walker whispered. Hayes helped him toward the exit. "Let's go home." 3 months later, representatives from 87 formerly restricted species gathered on Earth. The Grand Meeting Hall had been built specifically for this occasion, the founding of a new galactic alliance. Admiral Stone opened the proceedings, standing before the assembled delegates. "We gather today not as rulers and subjects, not as advanced and primitive, but as equals. The age of the Council is over. The age of cooperation begins." Captain Hayes sat in the front row, now wearing the insignia of Earth's ambassador to the new alliance. Beside her sat Dr. Walker, recovered from his wounds, and representatives from the Drell, the Lum, and Proxima Centauri. She thought of Ben Miller, whose sacrifice had made this possible. His parents had been found on a distant mining colony, freed in the final days of the conflict. They now worked with other survivors, rebuilding lives that had been stolen. Our first act, Stone continued, is to establish the principles of our alliance. Knowledge shared, not hoarded. Technology developed for the benefit of all. Defense of the weak against the strong. Hayes looked out the window at the stars. Somewhere out there, the transformed core device continued to pulse with purple energy, a reminder of what happened when power was abused, and when different species stood together against tyranny. The new alliance would face challenges. The remaining Council loyalists were still a threat. Countless worlds needed healing after millennia of oppression. But for the first time, they would face these challenges together, as equals. Humanity's dark matter warships had shaken the Galactic Council to its foundations, revealing the real core of darkness at its heart. And now, a new light was spreading across the stars.